What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out a game called Wayward Terran Frontier. This is an early access title that's been in early access for quite some time, and I've spent about 10 hours with it over the course of the last couple days, I guess, just really kind of getting ready for recording something having to do with the game. And so anyways, here we are. If you've never seen the game before, it's an open world sandbox, space, sci-fi, exploration, mining, do whatever you want, 4X, RPG with influences from every genre ever. Really, at its core, you're a star pilot, you steal ships, you can't die because you're a clone that has your brain in a jar. So, like, if things go wrong, not that big of a deal. But anyways, here we are at our home station right here, where I've crafted more or less every ship that I have available at the moment. This game absolutely has a ton of ships to play around with, and I'll try to give you some of my thoughts about the game, and like where it's going, and where it's coming from, and what I've run into near the end of the video. But for right now, if after watching this video you wanted to check the game out for yourself, you can look down below in the description, and I'll have a link for you. On top of that, I've also got a 4-hour VOD on Twitch where I played this for a little while and kind of explored it to kind of get more familiar. You can definitely check that out too if you wanted to. I'll have a link down below to my Twitch stream and also my Discord just in case you wanted to pop through. For right now, with where I am in the game, I just spawned this big giant ship right here, but it's got a big hole in the side of it. It's got several large holes in the side of it, so I'm guessing you're not actually supposed to be able to craft this ship, or it's some kind of bug or something. I'm not really too sure, but the whole thing is busted as all hell, and I've been fiddling with it for like the last day or so, trying to figure out if there's actually anything that I can do with it, but I think it's just kind of like a existing blueprint that you're not actually supposed to make or something. I'm not super sure. But I've got other ships, so it's going to be okay. Let's go ahead and dive on into a ship, and I'll kind of show you some of the activities that you can get your feet wet with inside. We'll start out with a trade run, since obviously that's sort of like a staple of the space game genre. Most people want to see how the trading goes. And so the trading in this game is actually pretty simple. You have production locations, you have refinery locations, and after refinery locations, you have civilian locations where the refined things are sold. And as long as you move one step down the chain with whatever you're moving, it's actually kind of hard to not make money. We're going to step on up to our navigation console. The thing that's unique about this game is that every single ship has an interior, and in fact, all of this is customizable. And so anyways, what you do is you get a ship, and when you get a ship, you get the hull layout, and then it comes with kind of like a default array of like thrusters and heat sinks, and I think these are sensors right here. This is our crew quarters, this is our crew quarters, this is our navigational console, corridors, obviously, airlock on this side and this side. These are reactors. And so anyways, but you're not stuck with the default way that they've laid together all the ships. You are more than capable. Like when you spawn a ship, you can go in and you can customize the interior to your heart's intent, so long as you have the bits and pieces of the ship researched, which is a long and arduous process. I mean, on this, I've got most of the T1 technologies right now on this playthrough, and I've got some of the T2 technologies, but I haven't found that many. But that's why you need money, is because research costs money, you get new parts, you can rearrange the internals of your ships. Honestly, I just fly with the defaults most of the time. That's how I like to kind of go about my business. But, if there's people out there that are like tinkerers and they like to play around with stuff, this definitely offers you the opportunity to tinker around with hulls. So if we press the M key, the first thing we want to do is we want to track down a location where we can actually make some decent, equitable profit. The way to do that is you can take a look at mines. And so this place is producing titanium right here and also silicates. And we'd be looking out for like another place, like not a general trade hub. These general trade hubs right here tend to have bad prices on like everything, both buying and selling, like kind of moderate prices, because these are effectively like the strip malls where all products end up after they've been allocated to the more specialized places. But for right now, there's a gold mine up here, and it's possible that if we can find an area that processes gold ore into something else, we could make some money right there. So we could take a look at some of our factories. So we've got like a parts factory up here. They produce assorted parts. Okay, and just about everything needs assorted parts. So for example, they would need assorted parts. That's already like a 300% profit right there. These guys are paying $200 for assorted parts. If there's a parts factory that's a little bit closer to where we are, I think that would work out better. Let me see if I can track one down. There actually is not a parts factory any closer, but that's good money right there. I mean, we're turning like what? It costs Yeah, so their parts over here cost 48, and if we take it down to this farm right here who needs it for maintenance, it looks like for every full slot we sell, we'll make 1,200 credits. So yeah, let's head up that way, and we'll do a little trade run, and then I'll introduce you to combat after we get done moving some product around. I'm already undocked, so we can pretty much just fly freely. The controls are pretty simple. It's just W, A, S, and D to move around, and then you can also use Q and E to strafe the ship, should you desire to do so. On top of that, we can press T, and it's going to pop in our travel drive. Space is full of all kinds of things to discover, and your character is, like, new to this part of space. Like, you've basically been floating in a derelict for a couple of 100 years before a rogue AI got you out. And so anyways, you're not familiar with this area. You're going to have to fly around a little bit to sort of fill in your map. If you see little blue squares along the sides, those are points of interest, places you can go to. They'll either be bases, both occupied, abandoned. They might be old mining stations. You can go on in there. You can fight aliens. You can make money. You can steal loot. That's basically, those abandoned bases are effectively the game's insurance plan to make sure you never run out of money. So no matter what you do, you're able to spawn a shuttle, go to an abandoned space station, and get like 40 or 50,000 credits worth of loot, and then like get back on your feet. I've been leaving them alone because the real money-making opportunities are elsewhere, but, you know, they're still there just in case I ever fall on hard times. This game also has kind of a unique hit system, in all honesty, so you might notice that nowhere on our ship do we have, like, shields and hull. That's because, like, the array of kind of thematic squares that I just showed you that comprise our ship, every single one of them has their own HP, and this game has voxel-style destruction of the ships as you get hit, so that's more than possible to score a hit on somebody that knocks a hole in their hull and then just sucks the pilot out into space. In fact, it happens like all the time. Sometimes when you're in combat, you'll be shooting at a guy and you will see a little guy go, "Woo!" and like fly out the side of the ship, kind of Space Pirates and Zombies style. And that was almost assuredly the pilot in most cases, and then the ship will just go dead after that because there's no one piloting it. Like, there may be automated defenses or whatever that are still firing, but, you know. You press shift to go into docking mode, in case you were wondering. Now, let's jump out the airlock here, and we'll use our space legs to walk on up in this station and see if there's anything useful to us. Over on this side, every single station has a map room. If you go to the map room, it'll show you other locations in the map and fill out various little areas. And so it's a good idea to do that whenever you cruise through. It can be kind of hard to identify all this stuff because it's not labeled. I saw the developer play the game, and all of his rooms had a little blue line and then a label like, this right here is the stock exchange, which is where we're headed. But, like, I know that because I've been playing the game for a while, and I know what the stock exchange looks like. But, like, when the developer was playing the game, there was, like, a little blue line that said stock exchange over here, and this one said medical bay, and this one over here had a little line that said bar, and I'm kind of wondering how you get that. I mean, I feel like it's entirely possible that maybe he just had a special developer version that did it. I don't know, but I actually think that's a feature that should be folded into the game in general. When I was a new player, it was really, really hard to find the things that I was looking for because I didn't know what the buildings look like. All right, so we just bought 420-something parts. We've got to ferry these down to that farm down there, and we should make about 1,000 credits per stack. My credits are listed up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. I accumulated all that money in like 5 minutes. I did a jaunt of piracy. So, like, here's what happened, right? Sometimes the AI will dock at stations, but they'll only have one dock. So it turns into a situation like you run into in, like, Elite Dangerous, where you're just waiting for the opportunity to dock, and if somebody decides to take a really long time or take a bathroom break or whatever, you just flat out can't dock. And so I sat there for like 5 minutes waiting for this guy to stop being docked at the station, and then I got frustrated and I fired torpedoes at him until he was marinara paste. As it turns out, he was a smuggler that was moving 1 million credits worth of illicit goods with him, which I then looted from his ship's desiccated corpse, and then sold to the station that he was docked with for the same money that he was probably about to make. It's probably the most effective way I've made money so far. I don't think I've ever actually derived financial gain from being impatient before, but in the case of Wayward Terran Frontier, apparently that kind of behavior is encouraged. Let's get on down here to this farm, and we'll go ahead and get ourselves situated with some monies. We don't want to sell to them. We want to sell to this farm down here. They're paying better. There are pop-in issues with the game. Sometimes you'll get to a spot where it says a station is, and then there won't be a station there. That's because the station hasn't loaded yet. I've spent a considerable amount of time kind of just like sitting around waiting for things to pop in, and I don't know if that's like system specific to my computer or if that happens to everybody that plays this game, but it's definitely something that should probably be looked at just for ease of use. Let's go ahead and we'll jump on out. We can trade straight from our cargo bay in this game, so we don't have to worry about carrying it inside with us. That is a feature that I very much appreciate. There's a lot of games out there that like they'll just force you to like slowly walk everything back and forth. There's their trade station right there, so we'll go ahead and check that out. They've got lots of cargo areas, but don't get too excited. None of these cargo bays are actually going to be lootable to the player. We've got all of our stuff here, so let's go ahead and sell it, and it looks like we just turned like 25,000 credits into 90,000 credits. Not bad. And that should allow them to ramp up production as well. It looks like they produce like snackies over here. I don't know if anybody actually buys the snackies. People do buy the snackies, but it looks like it's only like a 3 or 4 credit increase, like no matter where we take it. So I'm thinking the snackies may not be the best way to make money. However, we can wait for this parts factory to refill back up on assorted parts. And once they actually do that, we should be able... It looks like they're actually manufacturing from iron ingots, steel ingots. They've got silicon. They've got titanium alloys, actually. I think I know where a smelter is. I think we can actually make another run. Somebody already beat us to it. So we do have an alloy smelter inside the sector, but somebody already cleaned it out. So unfortunately, one of the AIs already got to it before we did. The other option that we can play around with is that maybe we can do like a little bit of combat. I can show you how to take over a station or maybe fight some pirates or something. Let me go back and swap ships real fast. One thing I would like to see from this game is effectively just kind of like a Hearthstone, even if it's limited use to get back to your station. You spend a lot of time flying around, but we've made our money. We made 90K, which is great for that short little trade run, but I figured I would show a trade run because a lot of people, I've noticed on the Steam forums, a lot of people are like, how the hell do you make money? And I'm like, well, this game doesn't work exactly like other space games work. So like in other space games, you have stations and they produce a product, and then other stations will consume that product in order to make another product, and it's kind of a lot more liquid, I guess, where it's constant products flowing from place to place. This game has a very, very sort of concrete crafting method, and it's that you've got sources, you've got refiners, and you've got final consumers. And as long as you visualize that in your head as the leftmost being the raw and the rightmost being as the final consumer, and you take an object one step from the left to the right, you will make money. And so what we did right there is we supplied associated parts, which is kind of like a middle product to a farm so that they can make a final product, snacks. And then those snacks would go back to somewhere else where they require snacks for their production. But like I've noticed a couple people being like, I don't understand how to make money in this game. Well, you can either do just egregious piracy, because this game is all about just being morally dubious. This game sort of relishes in the fact that it encourages you to be an awful person in space, or you can do some trading. There's a mining spot right there. If we had like a mining laser or like a mining rig, we could definitely get in on that and get ourselves some raw resources. Might be kind of cool. But for right now, I don't really have a mining ship all nice and equipped out, so we'll just pull back into our base and we'll swap over to a combat ship. Yeah, I really wish I could get that ship to work, but like there's so little information about this game. Like that's the ship from the tutorial that gets blown up, and I spent a long time farming the materials to craft it, but when I crafted it, it's got a giant hole like in the side of the hull, and it's got a bunch of holes in the back too. Like it didn't come out of the printer fresh. It came out of the printer in the same condition it ended the tutorial, and I can't figure out how to board the damn thing in order to fix it. Like, if I could board it, I could actually fix all the problems with it, but unfortunately, it's not allowing me to do it, and so, like, that's one of those little mechanics that I haven't figured out just yet, so I've got this crazy vehicle just kind of, like, sitting outside of my base that would probably make my life a lot easier, and I just can't seem to fathom a way to get it fixed. I tried taking a shuttle over there. I tried throwing myself into the vacuum of space so that I would fly through the hole in the hull and land inside the ship. That didn't work. Man, I tried just about everything. We'll jump on into my combat ship. This guy right here is equipped for fighting. He's got a number of guns on him. He's got like a couple, I think he's got a machine gun, and he's got like a 220 millimeter cannon, which actually bucks pretty hard. And so anyway, let's go find somebody to fight. Let's go see if we can get ourselves into trouble here. It looks like there's somebody right off to our right. We'll see if they're a good person to pick on. Maybe we'll do a little bit of space piracy. I'm already a criminal in this sector, which means like literally everyone is hostile to me. So we can more or less pick on people and just be mean as much as we want. Oh, that ship is doper than ours. We gotta go. Okay, that ship is way cooler than mine. Well, we did indeed find an enemy ship. It looks like he's got all machine guns. We can see if we can scuff him up a little bit, although he seems to be getting the better of this exchange. Shot off one of his turrets, so that's good. Oh, he's got like a barrage or something that he can fire. It's kind of hard to say if we're winning right now, especially since he just shot out my thruster. We'll keep the machine guns bumping, though. Oh, we knocked out his turrets. There we go, there we go, there we go. Keep them turrets down, cousin. He can't get us if he ain't got no turrets. He's still got something left, though, on that other side. And I would like to kill it. He's trying to hide it from me. You can tell. He's rotating so that I can't get his last turret. There we go. Oh, I blew up his bridge. I think he's dead. We are leaking quite a bit, though, into space. He is quite dead, however. And his airlocks are still active, too, so technically I could board him right now. All right, how bad is it in here? I know it's pretty bad, right? Yeah, we got scuffed up a little bit. We've had better days. We're actually not in that bad a shape. It looks like I should be able to, like... what's happening? Oh, you're still shooting at me? I thought I blew up your bridge, bro. That's how it's gonna be, huh? All right, I'm gonna keep shooting at you then. Like, I was content right there to let you be. Stupid nose on his ship's getting in the way. There, are you still able to fire at me? That's it, I'm going aboard. We gotta board this guy. What side do I want to board on? I don't know. We'll board over here. Hopefully, I've got an EVA suit on, so we should be good. There we go. And I've got a minigun, so we should be able to fix this up right sharply. There we go. Just minigun everybody in the ship to death. They definitely have some issues over here. I'm going to go ahead and fix the ship real fast. With my goo, you can actually replace like all these parts on the sides, and it should seal up the hull breach, and it should fix everything, and then we'll be okay. But for now, we actually scuffed this ship up pretty good. This looks like a different layout than my ship. I don't know what ship this is, but it looks different than mine, but also kind of similar. It might just be a variant. God, I'm glad I have an EVA suit on. I'll tell you that. Unfortunately, the lack of oxygen, I don't know if it really affects the AI the same way it affects me. But we should be able to get, I think our only hull breach is up here, so we just need to get this fixed. Looks like he's got all of his sensors knocked out. Yeah, this is definitely like, it's similar to my ship, but it's like a different layout. Just get the holes patched. I don't really care about the rest of it. I just want the holes patched. All right, let's see here. It is a new ship type. So what happens is whenever you board a ship and you hack their console, you gain the blueprints to that ship so that you can now build it back at the home base. So we'll go ahead and steal this ship real fast and see if we can add the hull to our overall database. There you go. We unlocked what looks like to me a new variant of what we already have. It's kind of hard to say though. There's no towing capacity or anything in this game, so I can't, like, hook this ship up and tow it back to base with me and then sell it for scrap. I do think that that would be, like, a really, really cool feature. Like, I think that's something they should definitely think about adding. I leave so many derelicts just floating through space. Does he have any good cargo? Oh, he does. He's got a nanite aura. Okay. He's also got a data core. That's got a blueprint on it. I'll take that right now. It's a blueprint for a reactor. Sure, add that to my overall research queue. Oh, he's got 64 gray goo, too. That's worth a whole bunch of money. Shotguns, some snackies, nanite aura. I'll take it all. Let's go. Does he have another cargo hold around here, or is that his only one? I'm going to get every last bit of value out of this place that I possibly can. No, it looks like that's his only cargo bay, so I guess we'll jump back into our own ship, and we'll come back over here. I have a nanite aura. How do I use this? Gonna do like some spot welds on my ship too. The guy chewed on it pretty good. I do wish, so one of the things with the nanite repair gun is that it doesn't reach far enough. Honestly, I would just give it like super range if I was the developers so that you can actually like fix stuff. And it can be idiosyncratic too, because like these thrusters are all one giant piece. So if I click like up here, it'll repair damage that's like all the way down at the bottom of the thruster. But with stuff like hull armor that's like on the outside and whatnot, it doesn't have that same spatial quality, I guess, to where it just counts as one giant module, so it'll repair the whole thing from the closest spot. And so there's going to be areas of my hull that I can't reach. I would recommend they make it just so that like you can fire the gun basically to like the boundaries of the screen effectively when you're inside of this little... Oh, we're being shot at. Oh, it's law enforcement. Hold on, the cops are here. We gotta deal with this. I'm being shooted. Luckily, this guy is not like a realistic threat whatsoever. My gimbaled guns, however, I can definitely tell our thrusters are somewhat damaged. Oi, sir. Can you stop shooting me, please? I gotta reload. I should have reloaded while I was turning. This guy has no chance in hell of actually hurting us, by the way. Like, he's just like a little law enforcement cop craft. And away he goes. Bye-bye. We'll go ahead and grab that right there, get some credits, get some money with our cargo scoop. I'm gonna leave that man floating, I think. I don't think there's any real... I mean, I guess I could blow him up so that I get, like, the extra loot. But we already stole his whole blueprint, so, like, why worry about it? I need to go back and repair, and then we'll find another victim to piratize. Alright, back at base here. I'm going to go ahead and repair up our ship so I can get all the hull and armor and everything fixed that I can't reach. I actually don't even know where I docked right here. Apparently I docked in the top left. We'll access logistics, right-click on him. We're going to go ahead and repair him on back up and get that armor fixed. We're going to unload the cargo while we're over here. It's going to throw that cargo just into our general storage. And then we'll just hop back in here, and it's time for us to get back on the road towards a, you know, stampede of filth and villainy in space. Looks so much... Oh, yeah, let's take a look at that new ship, too. Was it just a variant of this one? I think it is. Like, it feels like it was just a variant of this, but it felt like it might be slightly better armed than ours is. It looks like we got the Vulture R. Yeah, so it is. It's a variant of what we already have. We have the Vulture 956. And this is the Vulture R. I wonder how it differs. Let me take a look at it. So you can go into blueprint mode with any of these things. This is where you would actually customize the hull and, like, change the internals around if you really, really wanted to. It's up to you. Like, I don't do it, but people can do it. So it looks like it's got tiny turret mounts on the front right. Thrust over burn injector. That's new. So that's what that tooltip was that he had. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like it's a little bit different. Its layout is different. It has the same amount of cargo, but it's got a thrust over burn, apparently, which is kind of like nitrous. So it's got like a nitrous, and then instead of... Okay, so instead of having cannons like ours has, it has a whole bunch of mini mounts. Interesting. So how does that differ from the 956? Okay, so it differs from the 956. We've got 2 small ballistic mounts. He's got like 6 or 7 tiny mounts. So like actually his ship would be a lot better at killing fighters than ours is. So his is actually kind of a point defense escort ship, whereas ours is meant to kind of punch above its weight and go for ships that are the same size or a little bit larger. Okay. Neither ship is actually, like, impressive, but, you know, it's kind of a cool idea. I mean, there's a reason why we defeated him. Just largely because he just didn't have enough to punch through our hull and cause any real contiguous damage. His is also a lot cheaper, though, so, like, you can manufacture that without titanium, which I think is kind of nice. We'll jump back in our ship here, and let's go see if we can find Maybe a station? You guys want to do an abandoned station? Yeah, we'll do an abandoned station, since that's like one thing that I haven't showed you about the game yet. This game does have a narrative. It does have a storyline. However, in early access, I don't know if it's done or not. I haven't gotten that far. As of right now, I'm supposed to be making friends with like a group of pirates that are way far south of here. But it's a really, really long trip. It's like 3,000 kilometers, and I just haven't felt like flying that far just yet. I got to drop off like basically a gift of several hundred gold wires, because I guess the pirate area doesn't have gold. And so anyways, I have done a bunch of the other storyline stuff, though. I've rescued my first crew member, but I haven't really assigned him to be on this ship. I think he's assigned to be on my freighter. I don't know. But here's an abandoned station. You can get crew. They can man consoles in this game so that when you have a ship, you know, that has like gunnery consoles and has like dozens and dozens and dozens of, you know, guns on it, you can have them control different arrays of firearms and whatnot. They're kind of dumb right now. Like, they can't, so, like, for example, one thing that you can't really do, as far as I know, is, like, you know that ship we just destroyed? I couldn't order my crew to go on board that ship, repair it, and bring it back to our station, which is definitely the kind of functionality that I would like to see. But anyways, this is a station attack right here. This is an abandoned station, as far as I know. It's going to be full of nasty little xenomorph aliens. Luckily, I have a minigun, and so I fear the xeno no longer. In the early game, when you only have like a pistol or whatever, these guys can be kind of scary. But for where we are right now, they're actually not. They're basically a non-threat. They're nothing that we have to worry about. And there's a station trade over here. They do have a map room. And they do have a bar. We can see if there's anybody trapped inside the bar as soon as we get done killing all these aliens. Unfortunately, my gun is not known for its accuracy. It's more of like an accuracy by volume type of weapon. No, the Xeno is coming. Goodbye, Xeno. There's nobody inside the bar. Sometimes you find people that are like marooned on these abandoned stations inside the bars. And, like, you can, like, help them or they'll ask you to, like, take them to a different station and they'll give you, like, a free blueprint or something. They do have a map room, so we can use that to open up a different area of the map and show off just kind of what's in the area. So now we know. It's a gunnery console. I don't think there's, like, really any aliens left here. I think I got them all. Let's go cruise through the cargo bay and see if there's anything that we want to take with us. There may be something useful around here. Maybe. It looks like they've got 6 assorted parts. It's not too bad. I actually need to offload this stuff onto my ship. Inside of here, we got an armor, and we got some snackies. Okay. So now that we're kind of in the home stretch of the video, I wanted to give you some of my thoughts about Wayward Terran Frontier, because I've puzzled about this one quite a bit. I spent about 10 hours plus with the game at the time of this recording. Maybe a little bit over, I guess. And I really actually enjoyed myself. But there are cracks at the seams. The game has been in early access for quite some time, and development has been pretty slow on it. It's a small team that's working on Wayward Terran Frontier, and it's a game that sort of promised to reach like a large scale with the gameplay that it wants to provide. As is common in situations with a small team sort of promising the moon, that means there's going to be some bumps and some hooks and some knobs that you're going to run into along the way. While I enjoyed the visual fidelity of the game, and I actually really like the writing, it's a funny game. The custom shipbuilding and capturing and stealing and piracy was really good. From my experience, I would say you're virtually guaranteed to run into some bugs while you're playing this game, and some of them will be large enough that they will change up the flow of your normal play session in order to work around them. So as an example, you really need iron and you need titanium to build the hulls of most of your ships. That means that you're going to have to spend some time every session or two, and you're going to be moving huge loads of both elements to your central base so that you have the building blocks to build your hulls. Like normally in this situation, you would go to a mine, you would buy out all of their ore stock, and you would bring it back to your base. However, I had a bug very early on where the wrong station would be spawned in where an iron mine was supposed to be. So like there's supposed to be an iron mine there, but when you get there, it's a completely different station model that has no trade terminal and you can't interact with it at all. Nonetheless, the AI can still go there and trade with the station and like leave and like make their money, and you can see the AI adjusting the actual inventory at the station when they pull in and leave, but I can't interact with it in any way, whereas like another iron mine right around the way, is spawned in and works perfectly fine. I did some digging about this, and it's a bug that was reported on the Steam forums about 5 months ago, but like it's still in the game. Like updates on this title from its history, from what I've seen so far, are pretty slow, down to like sometimes one a year on the Steam branch, which may be far too slow for people that are eager to play and constantly be fed kind of like content drips. On top of that, I ran into item duplication problems, there was missing placeholders around in various locations, and like the longer you seem to play the game, the more the economy seems to kind of like run amok almost. Like different things get very, very inflated and like non-replenished, and like as time goes along, you notice that sort of different parts of the supply chain kind of fall apart, like, and you can't really repair it by yourself on the scale that you want to. And that's really sort of the case in general with WTF. Like, a lot of the systems are in the game, but outside of building ships and combat, most of the secondary playstyle mechanics are sort of like half in the game right now, like half implemented. Had the game been out for a couple of months, I'd probably shrug and be like, yeah, early access, but like the game's been in early access for years at this point. The game is definitely playable, but it's honeycombed with random bugs that'll kind of like mess with the activities that you were planning on taking. The RPG mechanics I can't really talk about because in 10 hours of play I haven't leveled up a single time. There are talent trees, but it seems like it takes a long while just to get to a point where you actually get to apply any of the points to your character. If you're focusing on anything other than combat, you're probably not going to level up much because combat seems to be where the very, very small amount of XP that you do get comes from. A remedy for this, I think, would be for the developers to look at the structure of Star Sector. And, like, what I like about Star Sector is every activity that you spend time on rewards you. And so, like, for example, if they made it such that a good mining run, an extended dogfight, a long trade route that earned a lot of money, clearing aliens out of a big abandoned base, if they made all of those things supply a level of advancement that was commensurate with one another, I think it would actually give the progression a little bit of a kickstart there, and also make it feel like, you know, some of the secondary playstyles are worth it aside from just farming up money, other than just like dogfighting. I do like the way that the ships feel. They are hefty and they feel nice. It feels like you're piloting frigates and whatnot, and there's a solid sense of advancement going from one hull to the next. I really like the ship designs and think they're really aesthetically pleasing, and I really like how the voxel destruction mechanic forces you to pay attention to how every single ship kind of has different angles it wants to attack from, and you have to fight people from that angle. Otherwise, it's really, really possible you might get bullseyed in the reactor or the cockpit very early in the fight and get knocked out. So you kind of have to pay attention to that stuff, and it lends a little bit of strategy to the otherwise jousty combat that the game has. I did have a problem with bases popping in late and not appearing when I was traveling long distances on one of my PCs, the one that I used for recording this episode, but it might just be a hardware issue. I can't say that it's a game issue, because my other older PC, I went ahead and tested it on like an older PC that I have, and it did not have that same issue, and it also didn't have some of the frame rate chugs that my newer computer has. And so anyways, it may just be a weird hardware thing. Maybe I need to update a driver or something. The writing in WTF is some of the funniest I've ever seen in a video game, so like that's one thing that they can brag about. But if you're considering buying this game, I recommend you have a high tolerance for bugs and quirks. On top of that, it's going to take some guesswork to figure out how to play with some of the more minute systems that exist inside of the game, and that's largely because like documentation or discussion of the game seem to be like non-existent online. You can like catch a snippet of how things work from like old 5-year-old Steam posts or something every now and well, maybe 5 years is too much, like old 3-year forum posts and whatnot. But when it comes to things outside the core gameplay mechanics, which the tutorial does teach you, some of the secondary mechanics you're going to have to figure out for yourself just by trial and error. Like, all in all, I did have fun with Wayward Terran Frontier, but it's a hard recommendation just due to the technical bugs that I ran into. And, like, with, you know, if somebody asked me if they should drop $30 on this game, which is the price that it's being sold at, I kind of expect there to be a little bit of polish in there. And so, like, for a $30 game, I don't mind if it's limited on content if it's in early access, but that content should be polished and buttoned up at that price point. WTF is kind of like the opposite. There's a lot of stuff to do in this game, but like almost every aspect of the game outside of combat and shipbuilding definitely needs like some serious polish passes and some definite balancing before I'd recommend people dropping, before I'd recommend the money out of somebody else's wallet. Definitely do your research with this one because there is fun to be had, but you should probably figure out whether or not the bugs that exist inside the game are going to drive you away and make you feel like you regretted your purchase. Hopefully my video helped you out a little bit with deciding whether or not WTF was a good fit for you if you're a space game top-down junkie like I am. My name is Splat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. I'll be back tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but up until then, it's time for me to go. I'll see you later, everybody.